let's set the stage. You've got to remember, it was a cold period last week, over the weekend, and then even yesterday, but that all goes away. So there's melting with the gravity, they snap off. You got to be mindful of that. And we just continue to climb. 57. Talk about a spring feel. It's going to feel like the 4th of April, 18 degrees above average. But that's not the case right now. Weather watchers reporting 30 to 35. So some of this falling in the atmosphere is definitely in the form of ice. So you have some sleet. Now, it's not hitting the ground yet, but as we expand the view, a composite radar shows heavy rain pushing into the Ohio Valley, icing from Chicago to Detroit. Our concern is, what will this mean for us? And then we set up this relatively, well, stationary boundary, and you're going to see these impulses right along it. So look what happens. You're going to see some mixed precipitation today. Cold enough for some ice? Yes. Cold enough for some snow? Yes. But in the city, Long Island, it's going to be rain. To the south, you're dry. You're thinking, well, Tuesday's kind of a dud. No. Look it up here. Some accumulating snow, Sullivan, Ulster, Dutchess, absolutely. And then we wrap up the day with a little burst of cold air. So Fairfield, you're seeing what? It's drops, now it's flakes. Yeah, it's going to be back and forth. And then overnight tonight, a little bit more snow. And again, I want to emphasize little. We're not talking about a lot. But then we get a break before there's more rain Wednesday night. And then we get a break, and then there's more rain. Thursday and Friday are going to be interesting days, particularly Thursday shaping up to be soggy. And then also Sunday looks like it could be wet. So it's this extended period. Hoping to get a break in on Saturday, still hanging on to those mild numbers. But remember, in concert with the moisture, you've got melting. So that could lead to some localized issues as far as flooding around poor drainage. But the concern today is winter weather. Some very important advisories we want to cover, and what's it going to mean for your Tuesday. So it's Tuesdays with Tony. Tony, what's your take on all of this? And how, our challenge is we have to adequately communicate this to people. Talk about the advisory.
Yeah, John, and it's kind of complex, right? I mean, we're back in this situation. You're like, we're warming up, but why are we talking winter weather advisories? It's because we're kind of right at the cusp. We're right at the cusp where we could still see some mixing precipitation, and it all depends on where you live, and it depends on the temperature too. Our mobile weather lab set up here at the train station in Bronxville at the moment is showing it's 34 degrees. Good news in the sense of you step outside, it feels notably warmer than it did this time yesterday. You still want to layer up, but the issue is it's been below freezing all weekend, and we're just finally starting to creep above the freezing mark, but there are still icy spots out there. Now you add more precipitation, even though it's going to fall fairly light, and it could lead to some issues. So let's get to the winter weather alerts just to kind of give you an idea of where we're thinking this is going to be the biggest issue. And it's basically everywhere shaded in purple. So that includes northern Westchester County, where I'm at, all the way up right to Dutchess, Fairfield, all the way across the Hudson Valley, northwestern New Jersey. You're in this as well. And it's really because of, again, this mixed precipitation type from midday today through the day tomorrow. Now, the good news is I'm seeing the models back off on the totals, but a little bit is all it takes. A glaze is all it takes. It can be difficult to see, and the key is to take it slow, because oftentimes you're driving down the road, you're pulling up in a parking lot, and you can't tell exactly what you're driving into. And the other note I wanted to make, John, is yeah, we measure these temperatures. The sensors up there, oftentimes down at the ground, you know how this works in the morning. The air radiates upwards, so the temperatures can be even colder at the ground, especially true for bridges and overpasses, which we know can be a real sticking point for any of that freezing rain.
And you're so right, Tony. It does not take much at all. Thanks for the insight. And again, if you slam on the brakes, you got no traction. Yeah. So just take it easy.
All right, we will.
Thank you, John.
We're looking forward to those 57 degrees on Friday. Wow.